Oh, oh my God.
Hi, I'm Doug Hastings. I'm from Sequim, Washington.
And I'm Beverly Hoffman from Sequim, Washington.
And today we're here at their beautiful court at their home in Sequim. And who's
Got
out there
my
playing?
Wife out there in gray, and then Marlene and her husband Jim, and then your husband Kai, and just having a great time.
It's been a great day so far. So I just wanted to hear a little bit about your history here in Sequim and about your history with pickleball.
Well, it was about 5 years ago. We kind of, it was just prior to us building here, and when we built, we decided pickleball was a big part of our family, so we wanted to make a court and a house all at the same time, so we did that. But it started off, I was just driving by our small little group here in Sequim, had a small club, just ran by a few others, and they would play on some basketball courts where they brought out some stationary nets, and they looked like they were always having such a fun time. So I drove by one day and stopped, and they were nice enough to loan me a racket. I played with them, and then came home that evening and said, "Family, we're gonna go play pickleball tomorrow morning." And so we went down as a group, and we all loved it. My in-laws, Beverly and her husband Marty, got in it. Our two kids, who were 9 and 11 at that time, got into it, and that's where it kind of took off.
All right.
One of the fun things about pickleball is the fact that 3 generations are in our family of pickleball, and we have gone to lots of tournaments together. I always make the meatballs that we that go fast, and then it was fun for grandparents to play with granddaughters when they were low level. Now they can beat the living daylights out of us, but one time I was playing his youngest daughter in singles, and at that time she was lower level, and I beat her, and she said to me afterward, "Aren't grandmothers supposed to be home making cookies instead of beating their granddaughters in a pickleball?" That's one of my favorite quotes, because it just shows the fun and the repartee that you can have in 3 generations, and just creating these memories that are precious, precious, precious.
And I think one of my fondest memories is when Marty was either playing with McKenna or Kendall, I can't remember which one, in the Rally in the Valley tournament in Oregon. And I think they made the medal stand in that somewhere. And I think it was Kendall and Marty, and then McKenna was playing with another person, I can't remember which, and they also made the medal stand. And it was just fun watching them all compete, and what sport can you have that cross-generational, be out on the same court? Usually it's grandparents in the stands just cheering as the other family members are playing, but in this sport you can have them all out on the court at the same time playing against each other, and being very competitive.
Now, have you met any other families that are like that, and you've gotten together with those families?
Yes, the Klein family is a great example of that. They live in Utah. What are some other ones?
Do they have grandparents? Are they 3 generations?
I don't think 3 generations.
I can think of a number of parents, children. I don't. Well, what about, I know Emily and Patrick. That's 3 generations.
Yeah, that could be, because if they're
Emily's mother.
Place, okay, then that would be.
Yeah, so.
And then I was thinking just the Rob Davidson with his parents who play, which are the same age as you and Marty.
Right.
It's only 2 generations at this time, but it's still neat to, and their grandparents has partnered up with McKenna several times.
Yes, and I played with,
It's just neat. It's a very family-friendly sport.
Maybe there needs to be a tournament of families.
That would be a great thing.
It's funny you mentioned that, because Beverly and Allison played in a mother-daughter tennis tournament when we were big into tennis, till we transitioned to pickleball. That was one of the kind of neat memories that were made, is we went off to Oregon to play in a tournament.
And then it was going to be my goal to play with the baby she had in her tummy when she was going to be 12, because I thought grandmother, granddaughter that would be a hoot too. So
Very neat. And so I hear that you're a PE teacher.
Yes, elementary PE teacher in swim here. Been doing that for the last 21 years.
Are you teaching pickleball to them?
Not per se. My work environment doesn't really allow for the larger pickleball setting, but at the middle school and the high school, they do a full pickleball units and just use the badminton court guidelines or lines for their court measurements. But at the elementary level, what I do is we do a paddle game where we do it against the wall, and it's kind of like racquetball without the sidewalls, and we play that. And then I have manipulation games with paddle and ball where we'll do some warm-up drills and some other things. We'll do an aerobic tennis video where we watch on the screen and copy, and we all have our personal space and we're just following the strokes. So I introduce them to some of the skill sets, but not really the actual game, unless I do it with some videos where we'll watch. I'll have some small amounts of filler time, and I'll put up some videos of myself or some really neat matches that are on YouTube and watch that for 5 minutes or something like that on a filler for a moment there, just to give them that schema, that background.
Well, then I imagine they really love to see that their teacher won the 5-0 gold medal, right?
Hopefully there'll be a few more of those, I hope, in the future.
Well, it's really interesting to see this new generation of kids coming up that were not born when it started and that they were not tennis players. They're pure pickleball players.
Yeah.
How do you think that'll change the game?
That's pretty neat. Another family that comes to mind is the Gardners, a very wonderful family, and their son William has been one of those players that was introduced to pickleball before tennis. Now he's playing tennis as well with Wes Gabrielson as his high school tennis coach. But he's a fantastic player that I've enjoyed watching progress and evolve. And he's a solid 5-0 now, and getting some good acclimates under his belt.
and started out as a trio when we first saw him. Yeah.
Very fun.
So it is kind of neat to see that that transition of pickleball players that started as pickleball and evolving.
And Beverly, I hear that you're quite the yoga follower. And what does that do for your pickleball game?
I don't wear braces.
When you see me out there, I'm like, you can't see my legs. They're covered in braces.
I am a big proponent in flexibility because I am, I think, 74, 75, 74, and I don't have any aches and pains. And I think that that is a big advertisement for yoga. I've been doing it for 20 years.
Oh, that's incredible. I need to get back to that. And do you do yoga, Doug?
No, I have great intentions, but it's always easier to
watch
watch it, hear it, say it, than actually do it. And I'm a little bit of that nature.
Okay, so I'd like to know about your drilling routine. Do you drill?
I put a lot of emphasis on practicing and kind of having an even relationship about playing and practicing to really make those gains in your game. So a lot of my drill will be I'll have the ball machine, or I'll get a couple friends over and we'll try and do some drilling before we actually play. Some of my favorite drills are just doing skinny singles, playing a lot of competitive settings where we might start off as a dink game, and then that will transition into just seeing who can outlast, and then attack the ball when the ball is up a little high to work on that skill set. Do third shot drops. That's the area where I gotta gain the most, is really develop a more higher effective third shot.
And I drill once a week with 3 ladies, and we do some of those same things. I think one of the things about drilling is to make it fun and to have games within the practice or the drilling. So we'll do dinking games, or we'll do you have to do a third shot a game, whether it's an appropriate one, just to get it in your psyche. And so I'm a big believer in drills too.
And on just to piggyback on that, I do a lot of lessons, and I would probably say 90% of my clientele don't really make significant gains because they get some good fundamentals, some things to work on, some good suggestions, but they don't carry that on to practicing it, and then soon it's forgotten. The game simulation is just not enough to really acquire a new skill set. You need to work that repetition, that mindset as well, to really kind of make it part of you. And unfortunately, a lot of my clientele won't dedicate some drill time to make that adjustment, to kind of gain that knowledge base and actually make it a part of them, versus just that short term, and then after just playing games, they're back to doing the same thing that they already were doing.
That's great advice.
One drill that I did over here that Doug saw one time was to get the idea of consistency really solidified in somebody's head. So we had a cup, 2 cups for every lady, and we started with 12 quarters, and every time a mistake was made, it's like losing money into the cup as something that is palpable and understandable. And then we look and where the money is, and the teams that had lost the most money through inconsistency also lost the games.
So every unforced error, a quarter had to go into the jar by the person.
That would motivate me.
And
I know it's just trivial. It's a couple bucks is really nothing, but it seemed to have a little bit more internal
right
motivation.
And I took all the money back anyway.
Because you started, they didn't bring their own. She was nice enough to give it
I
out.
brought all the money and then took it all back, but the point was made.
Yeah.
And I'm still looking at that as such a factor.